Yeah, hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. Uh, all right, so good morning everyone. So like we do it regularly, just give me a thumbs up or reply with an emoji so I always know that everyone is together and everyone can listen to me. All right. All right, so can I proceed? Okay, so welcome to the Web2 Bootcamp. Uh, Today we are going to start something very interesting, an introduction to a very good technology that we all consider to be the future of the internet. And it's going to be quite interesting for those that will love to build on this technology and also gain from the ecosystem. So as you all know, my name is Mano.dev, popularly known as Mano.dev, and I'll be a first speaker that will be introducing you to the world of Web3. So I can see some hands up. I don't know if you have something to say or you can just drop up your hand so I don't get distracted. Talking about David Simon and Nobel. All right. So I would love to know how many of you are from the Web3 boot camp? Sorry, Web2 boot camp from Pytech. I would love to see your hands up. Please, let's do this. Just raise up your hand instead of using the emoji this time around. So just five people, seven, eight. Oh, interesting. Just eight people from the five boot camp. So that means there are a lot of new faces here then. All right, so you can put your hands down. Well, let's see people that this is like first boot camp with our Pytech. They were not from the West. All right, nice. Nice. So next. So I just want to ask a few series of questions before I'm going to proceed. You can drop down your hands now. Okay, so how many of you are builders already? That is, you have already built products from Web2. People have used your product. even though it's just friends or maybe you. Okay, so hands down. And then how many people have been learning about the blockchain technology even before this boot camp? Because you already started this, and then a lot of people are curious before they go into a particular technology. And they can't wait for the class to, all right, a reasonable number that we know what I'm talking about. All right, let's drop your hand. Now, I have about 40 people in this class, but people that give me response are roughly about 20, and that doesn't give me a lot of energy here. Yeah, my boss can proceed.
All right. Boss, good morning. Your voice is not so audible enough. I think some students are complaining on the comment section that they can't hear you really audible.
Oh, okay, okay,
So I don't
okay.
know, maybe it's from the mic or so.
Yeah, so how about now?
Okay, a bit better, but still not so clear.
All right. So let me switch. Let me just use now my normal speaker instead of the headset.
All right.
Yeah. So how about now? I need your
Yeah,
feedback.
awesome. Perfect.
All right, great,
Perfect.
great. Okay. So prior to this, I was just asking the people who are new to this ecosystem. You are not part of the last Web2 bootcamp. You are coming totally from a different place. Maybe you were studying by yourself or you were part of another bootcamp. Let me see your hands up, please. All right. That's like half of the class. Nice. So, welcome to this new technology. And I hope most of you are Web2 builders already. So it's going to be easy for us to go down this line and this trail. Because trust me, this is a whole new different technology on its own. And it's quite interesting to be part of it. But then you need a little idea from Web2, which is where you are coming from, to be able to have a grasp and to be able to enjoy this. Or you're not a Web2 builder. Well, you can be a Web3 builder then. Okay. So let me just share my screen. Then let's talk about the agenda of the day. And then we can get started. Yeah. So slideshow. Yeah. Can you all see my screen? Okay. Nice.
Sano.
So almost everyone can see my screen. So if you can't, I think it should be from your own angle. You can just try to check up on your network or leave the call and then join back again. Is that clear?
Okay, sir.
Nice. All right, so this is going to be the agenda we are going to be talking about for today. And then today is going to be a whole new introduction to Web3 and the blockchain technology. So by the end of this class today, I'm sure we are going to be able to clear confusions about what Web3 is. or possibly introduce people who don't know what Web3 is to them today. But then before we can talk about Web3, we have to talk about a lot of concepts, because trust me, there are a lot of things that are being connected together before we have the technology Web3. There are a lot of underlying concepts that come together before the whole Web3 technology is being achieved. And currently, it's still under construction. So if you guys are coming now, you are coming in as builders. So you are welcome to put in more hands to be able to make this technology better, and also make it the future of the internet. So before the end of this class today, we should be talking about what blockchain. We should know what blockchain is. Yeah. So what is blockchain? We should understand how the blockchain works. And then we should know the key concepts of the blockchain. That's basically just moving pieces about what the blockchain is all about. And then we should know what Web3 is. And then Web 1, Web 2 versus Web 3. So that should sound a little bit familiar. All right. So in no particular order, we are going to be talking about this. So it doesn't depend where we are coming from or which of these bullet points in the agendas. So let me just head over to the next slide. So what is Web3? That is the first question. So Web3 is the next evolution of the internet. So for those of you that don't know, the internet is in phases, and it started from different rounds, from Web 1 to Web 2, and then now, or currently we're in Web 2, but then the future is Web 3. That's why they say it's the next evolution of the internet. So it is built on the blockchain technology. So the blockchain technology is the technology that powers Web3, which is the next evolution of the internet. So for us to really know what Web3 is, or understand the core concept why Web3, we have to understand what the blockchain technology is. So the blockchain technology is what powers Web3. So we're going to be breaking that also into pieces. And then Web3 focuses on decentralization and user ownership. So we are going to know why it focuses on this decentralization. This sounds like a very big word for now. So that's why I don't want to buttress on this much. But just know that in the course of this bootcamp, you'll be hearing decentralization, and not just only in this bootcamp, but from now henceforth, those of you that choose Web3 as a career, or even though you don't pick Web3 as a career, the next phase of the internet is going to be talking strictly about decentralization. So take note of that word, and user ownership. So the words are getting bigger now, and I would love to be introducing them in very lighter context, so everybody knows what we are talking about from ground up. So Web3 also aims to reduce reliance on big tech companies. We are going to understand why, I think probably in the next slide. And then it enables peer-to-peer interaction without intermediaries. So this is like one of the main points of Web3. So Web3 is trying to take away third parties. So that it just wants a peer-to-peer interaction. So take, for example, you being able to send money from one person to another without having to interface with a banking system. That is just one of the most common concepts of Web3. And that's why a lot of people align the concepts of the blockchain directly to cryptocurrency, because that's easily what everyone can understand, right? But then in the concept of this class, yeah, I'll send the slides, don't worry. But now let me be the central owner of this slide before anyone else. Nice. So as I was saying, it enables peer-to-peer interaction without intermediaries. This is the main concept, or this is the main reason why we need Web3. So a lot of third parties, so anything at all that you know that has third-party intermediaries now is going to be taken off. Like take, for example, like I explained, in the banking system, The third parties are our banks, which help us to settle transactions between one account to another account. Now, Web3 is going to take that off, right? In the concept of what again? Settling legal agreements between one person to another. You know, if you want a legal agreement currently, maybe you want to rent a house, or probably you want to sue somebody to court and the rest of them, you are going to need a lawyer. So in this case, a lawyer is like a third-party intermediary, right? This person also is going to be taken off when it comes to the Web3 system. So anything at all that has a third party, Web3 is going to be solving that and be taking away third parties. So we are going to be seeing reasons why we no longer need third parties. So for now, this system works for us. Everybody's okay with this system, and then, but then there's a problem with having third-party intermediaries, which we are going to be understanding much better while we go further in this concept. But just know that Web3 solves the concept of taking away third-party intermediaries. So let's move further. All right. So I told you guys that the slide is going to be in no particular order. So we are just going to go from any parts of the agendas. So currently now Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3. So let's know the current concept that, or the evolution that we have been in to where we are right now, right? Because there's a popular saying that says, before you know where you are going to, you have to know where you are coming from. So we can't just wake up one morning and just be talking about a great new future and a great new technology that is coming up. We need to understand what were the technologies that started first before we got ourselves into wanting to go into Web3 or wanting to go into the next phase of the internet. So let's talk about Web 1, Web 2 versus Web 3. So what is Web 1? So Web 1 started in the early 90s, 1990s. Some of us were not born by then. And down to the 2000s. Some of us were still not born by then. So some people here in the class might not have seen or known what Web 1 is. You are not part of the Web 1 era. Possibly even me too. I'm not part of the Web 1 era, right? Okay. So Web 1 was read only. Take, for example, in Web 1, all we just had were just static websites. Yeah. So in Web 1, when people go to the internet, which was the first phase of the internet, if you go to the internet, the only thing that you see is just read only. So that's what this first slide is talking about. Read. You can only go to the internet to read. Like take, for example, a newspaper. If you go and look, people read or surf the internet then like a newspaper or a magazine. You only go and you admire the pictures. You cannot tell them you like these pictures. You cannot tell them how you love it. People only go to the internet and just read about what is the current news. Maybe you see that Trump is trying to set up a crypto reserve, but you cannot be able to give your comments on it, or maybe give feedback. All you just do back then in Web 1 was to just go and read. So Web 1 was for readers. That was how the internet was designed. People just go read articles, read books. Your professor is going to send you your handouts, and then you just go and read them directly from the internet. So that's just how it was. And then it was a one-way information flow. That was what was happening. So how is it one way? One way in a sense that it's only people that had access to building this website that have access to displaying information to people to be able to consume. Right? So if I'm a developer, I will be the guy that only have access to publish on the internet, because I am the only guy who knows how to build for people to see. So any information I give is what you are going to consume, right? I take, for example, now I can say there's fire in Jos, or the whole of Jos, there's crisis right now in Jos, and possibly there's no crisis, yeah, and then obviously there's no crisis currently. But then with one-way information flow, the only people who have access to building on the internet are going to be people who have access to be giving out information, which is a problem in our current system, right? Yeah, so that's just one of it. And then users are consumers of content. So people who had mobile phones, people who had computers, their only work was to just go and look at whatsoever is happening on the internet. They are just consumers of content, like the magazine. You're not the guy that designed it. You're not the guy that put the picture in there. It's just a random person that just made this design and then printed it out for everybody to have a look, right? So that was what was happening on Web 1. So picture the internet like a magazine or as a newspaper back in Web 1. And then that was in the early 90s to 2000. Perfect. So let's go. So currently in Web 2, which is the current phase that we are right now, the internet started getting more interesting. People sat and thought about, how can we just go to the internet and just read and not know what's happening? We can't give feedback. We can't give the comment to the government. We can't like a particular picture we see in the magazine, right? So the technology started evolving, and then people started thinking, how can we make this internet better for us to be able to share information? And then that's what gave birth to Web 2. So Web 2 became more interactive and then gave birth to a lot of social platforms like Yahoo Mail, like Gmail, like Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, TikTok, and the rest of them, right? So that's what happened. So right now, when these technologies came, people started sharing content. Like take, for example, someone sat down and say, oh, there's a magazine. What's the most popular magazine we have? For those of us that read magazines or look at magazines, me, I don't know any popular one. In Nigeria, or let's say the Vanguard newspaper or Bunch. Okay. Let's say someone just sat down and say, oh, the Bunch magazine, where I go on and look at pictures, or I look at famous rich people. That's the Forbes, right? How do we make it Web 2-ish? How do we make it more interactive for us to know if people like this content? Because you might have a magazine and then the pictures you are putting out, you don't know, you don't have feedback whether people like it or not, right? It wasn't interactive. It was just one way in Web 1. So in Web 2 now, people started making it interactive. So someone tried to say, okay, let's change the way magazines look like. Why not? Let's make it more interactive. I'm not going to be the only guy that posts pictures now. Other people can come up to post on their pictures. And probably that's what the guy that built Instagram thought about. So imagine Instagram. Instagram is just like a magazine, right? Where you go, you look at pictures. But this time around, you can be able to give back feedbacks. You can be able to like. You can be able to comment. You can be able to share for other people to see. You personally can be able to post your own pictures and your own data for people to see. And people can be able to give you feedback, right? That was how the internet evolved, and then Web 2 came into place. It became interactive and social platforms came into being. So this time around, it's no longer one way. Information is no longer read only. You can read and then you can also write. And that's what gave birth to feedback, WhatsApp or Gmail, where you can be able to send information for me and I can be able to send you feedback, right? Perfect. So people started using it to communicate, and then business started adopting this. So a lot of businesses adopted Gmail because they were able to communicate seamlessly without anyone having to pick up his cell phone to dial up a number, and then probably the person might not even pick. All you just have to do is send information across, and then you also receive information back from the other person. Read and write. That was the next phase of the internet, which is what we are in currently. All we just do every day is just go on our mobile phones and then chat with one another, or go on Facebook, like, or go on Instagram, love, like picture, double tap, right? Or what do you people call it? Retweet, and the rest of it. So that was how the phase of the internet evolved. And then This time around, contents are user generated. So anybody can put out his own content right now. So you see everybody will be content creators right now, right? Everybody has selfie sticks and tripods and a ring light, right? And you are good to go. But before, you have to be a developer before you can be able to publish stuff on the internet. And that was why I think the internet was kind of having limited information at first, because only few people were the builders. So only few information were there. And then in today's world, we have bunch of information, the good, the bad, the ugly, the stupid, the foolish, and all of them, right? Everybody's putting out whatsoever content he feels like putting out. Lies and bunch of it. So people can't seem to tame it. There's a problem, right? That's one problem you people need to know. Contents are not being, what will I say? Are not being censored simply because everybody has the right to give out information on the internet in today's world. But Web3 is solving this. Now, another inefficiencies of Web2, because I want us to understand Web2, understand what good it has done unto us. Because every phase of the internet has done good to us. So we can't just run away and say Web3 is the best. In short, all of them are a combination of one another. Imagine, Web1 was read-only, but Web2 became read and write. So you can read and then you can also write, right? But Web3 now became more interesting. You can read, you can write, and then you can own your data. Why? So let's understand. So because content are user generated, this content now are being saved in centralized databases and in centralized systems. So as Web2 developers, you all know the anatomy of what a Web2 application looks like, right? Now, let me tell you a simple example of what Facebook looks like behind the scene. Now, a lot of you might have built your own chat apps, or you might have built your own to-do app. So what's happening is there's a front end and a back end. So the back end communicates with the database. Now, the database is where all user information is being saved. So any information you post to the internet is being saved in a database. And then thus, this information can be retrieved and then be given out to users for users to consume, right? Perfect. But then this database are being controlled by central tech companies. Like take, for example, in Facebook, right? All your data is being saved in Facebook database. So Facebook has control of all your data. So any data Facebook is not on, just know that all your data is gone, right? If you can't access Facebook, you cannot access your data. Yes or no? Good. Yes. So everybody has agreed that yes. Today, if you go to Facebook and Facebook app is not opening, bye-bye, you cannot see your pictures, you cannot see anything. It's gone. Until when Facebook comes on, before you can be able to access your pictures. So this simply tells you that it's Facebook that has control of your data and control of your information. Good. So aside Facebook, Instagram too, they have control of all your data, all your pictures. Aside Instagram, Twitter, they have control of all your data, all your information, all your tweets. If Twitter goes down today, you are gone. And then on Twitter, you can post your information, post data, and then you are being banned from Twitter. You don't have access to be able to use it. Simply because someone who is on Twitter's back end, or the Twitter developers, or the Twitter company itself, has written a particular code and say, we are going to be able to ban users when maybe they post this particular content, or when maybe they are being reported by so amount of people, and the rest of it. And then when Twitter bans you, they don't ban you and say, hey, take all your pictures, take all your videos, so go to another platform and go and use it. If they ban you, they ban with all your data and all your information, and you no longer have access to it at all. Right? Good. So that's one inefficiencies of Web2, or having these big tech companies having our data. And then do you know that your data is being monetized? So data is money. A lot of people say data is fuel, right? So whosoever has your data controls you and knows how you live your life. That's how the internet has gone currently. Right? Good. What else? So that's just Web 2 for you. And again, another scenario, your bank. Your bank has control of your money. Any day that the bank is no longer dispensing or Access Bank doesn't have network, just know that you cannot withdraw your money from Access Bank that day. Right? And then if you have somebody who is dying in the hospital, sorry to say, but it's going to be chaotic for you. Right? So imagine they use all these third-party intermediaries. That's what I want us to think about. Imagine all these third-party intermediaries, like your bank controlling your money. And then any day you don't have network, you can't have access to your money. Do you know how dangerous that is? Aside that, we imagine a system, like take for example, Nigeria. How many of us are Nigerians here? I think 7% to 80% of the boot camp is supposed to be Nigerians. Okay, we all remember the 2023 general elections, right? Or we all know the general election system in this country, or the electoral system being placed in the hands of who? Of what's their name? INEC, right? The independent, blah blah blah. For those of you who are not Nigerians, let me just explain to you. So these guys are rigging the system because they have control to be able, or they are the third party that we gave trust or we trusted to be able to count all the votes of the Nigerians and collate the figures and tell us who the winner of the election is. So because they have such great powers, they are using it against us now, and they can be able to use it to manipulate the system, right? Because they have our data. They have the total votes that we voted. So they can be able to manipulate it and use it to their own use. So that's one inefficiency of Web3, a centralized controlled authority by big tech companies or third-party intermediaries. And that's why we are trying to kick them out with the Web3 technology, which is currently emerging. So how is Web3 and how does Web3 work? So Web3 is user-owned data and the user-owned internet. Like take, for example, you own your data and you own your information. Every single piece of picture, every single piece of tweets that you make, every like, every retweet that you do on the internet is being owned by you. And this data is being controlled by you. Right? That is Web3. And that's what Web3 is bringing today. A user-owned internet. So you don't just read from the internet. You don't just write to the internet. But whatsoever you write to the internet, you own it. Are we clear? So with this, it solves the problem of saying, oh, when Facebook bans you, you still have access to all your pictures. You still have access to all your data and you own it. Have you seen a lot of fake and parody accounts on the internet today? Like take for example, do you know that somebody can take the whole of your pictures and go and create another account on Facebook and put the whole of your content there? And take for example now, FiTech community is making a video of this boot scam, and then they are posting it on their YouTube page, right? And then hoping someday this video is going to get like 1 million likes, and then or 1,000 subscribers and the rest of it. And then YouTube might be able to pay them and what have you, right? Though FiTech is not doing this for that sake, right? But posting it on YouTube might bring such type of revenue, right? It's just the internet that we are today. Do you know that somebody can go to that same YouTube, take this video, and also go and post it in his own YouTube page and drive that same traction that we are trying to drive here as FiTech community? Good. With this, Web2 is not user-owned. So whatsoever information we post to the internet is not owned by us. Anybody can take it, and it is being controlled by YouTube's database. So if YouTube goes down today, we won't have access to our pictures or our video again. Nobody will have access to this. User-controlled information. There is a problem with the current Web2 system, and that's what Web3 is trying to solve today. Next, Web3 is bringing rise to decentralized application. So decentralized applications are applications that are not controlled by a centralized authority. Like take for example, like I explained earlier on, Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, they are all controlling our data. All our data lives in their database, and they can choose to take it off, delete it, or what have you, or whatsoever they want to do with our information, they can be able to do with it. Right? But then we are moving to a world of decentralized applications, whereby your data is not just controlled by one person. How? How does this happen? How does this work? We will understand in the course of the bootcamp, or probably before the end of this class. So instead of having one central database, Web3 has, let's use this term, different databases stored between, or one database that is being controlled by different set of people, or being stored in different local computers. And then when your information goes down in one particular database, you can be able to access it in another particular database. Like take for example, imagine that Facebook server is down. If Facebook server is down, all of us cannot be able to access Facebook. But imagine that Facebook server is down, but we have the ability to access Facebook from another different server. So we can access Facebook from multiple servers, right? That is what Web3 is bringing today. Perfect. So instead of having one single server, having one central root is one state of entry, state of failure, right? Like take for example, a lot of people today, let me use this simple scenario. They will say, don't have one source of income. Do you know why they say don't have one source of income? Nice. So you don't have one source of income simply because any day you go broke, you have another stream of making money, right? So with that, it's not only one way that is being your money is being controlled. So let's take for example now. When they said no movement, can you remember the COVID time? How many of us can remember COVID? Or some people were not born then too. Nice. So when there was COVID, everybody that was doing transport business was suffering. Yes or no? Good. Simply because no going out. So if I'm not going out, that simply means no what? No using of transportation. So if you are a keke rider, or you are a taxi driver, or you are a Bolt guy, or you are an Uber guy, you have lost your job automatically. And then next phase, who are the people now buying? Before these cars can be able to move, they need fuel, right? And then no movement. And then it's a sit-at-home policy, so nobody goes out. So automatically, nobody is going to sell fuel for you. So whosoever is selling fuel, your business has what? Gone automatically. So if you have one stream of income and your income then was doing Bolt or driving Uber, just know that you have lost your job. That's one central entry point, right? Good. But if you have different businesses, like take for example, you make cakes at home, or you bake bread at home to sell. Take for example, if you are not in driving Uber, you are making cupcakes, and then you are selling cupcakes. Even though it's a sit-at-home policy, people must eat, right? Good. So with that, you have another source of income, and then you can be able to feed by making cupcakes and raising money from it. Perfect. So that's just on a lighter note to explain why we don't need a central server or one single point of entry, and why our data is not to be controlled by just one single authority. It's very big chaos for our data to be controlled by one authority. And we all know why, right? I've known a couple of times whereby I think there was a time I wanted to travel, and then what happened was my ATM card wasn't working. I couldn't transfer. I couldn't withdraw at all. So I have to postpone my journey to the next day. Not only the next day, my journey has to be postponed until when I can be able to withdraw. Do we get the point? Also, let's take example of the internet. When okay, not a lot of you are going to relate to this one. Yeah, the people that were staying in Kaduna back then will be able to relate. There was a time that internet was being cut off. So if you're not in Kaduna, you can't relate to this. So there'll be no need to explain that. Right? Good. So these are just the inefficiencies that Web2 is bringing. Trust me, Web2 is a very good and awesome technology, and it changed the game of the internet, right? But there are a lot of inefficiencies in Web2 today that a lot of us are not even seeing until when I mentioned it till now, right? That is control over your data, control over your money, control over your information, and also the type of data that people put out on the internet. So with this, we have introduced Web 2, Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3. So the key take point is, number one, Web 1 is read only. Web 2 is read and write. Web 3 is read, write, and own, right? Good. And then Web 3 is being powered by the blockchain technology. Good. Like take, for example, now in finance. In finance, people, instead of we having a controlled bank or a centralized bank or the central bank to be able to have control of our money, Bitcoin came over, right, to be able to solve these inefficiencies. And Bitcoin came as decentralized finance. So taking out a third party, which is the bank. So people can be able to send money from one another so long as they have access to the internet. So long as the internet exists, Bitcoin exists. So long as the internet exists, blockchain exists, simply because Bitcoin was built on the blockchain technology. So let's jump on to understand what the blockchain technology is, right? Because a lot of you, while being introduced to Web3, a lot of you, when they hear Web3 or they hear blockchain, in short, 90% of the world, when they hear blockchain, the first thing that comes to their mind is Bitcoin. Yes or no? Crypto, in short form. Now, that's one of the reasons why I didn't come into learning Web3 very early. Simply because I thought Web3 was just talking about only crypto. Right? And me, I'm not interested in crypto. In short, I haven't heard that people are losing money up and down. And then there is blood everywhere. So I didn't know that this whole technology is a lot of wonderful technology that has a lot of problems to solve other than only finance. A lot of people think it's only finance that is the problem being solved by the blockchain today. Yes, it is the most popular, but a lot can be solved. How can this a lot of problem be solved if a lot of builders don't come into the ecosystem to understand what the technology is and how they can be able to contribute their quota into building this technology? Like I told you, there were Web 1 developers before, people that were building magazines for people to just go and watch on the internet. Now, somebody now sat down and said, oh, in Web 2, why not let's make this magazine interactive? And then the person now went and built Instagram. So not only one person can be able to post those pictures, not only one person can be able to post those contents for people to see, but a lot of people who are using the platform can be able to bring their data, their content, and a lot of it for people to have a look, right? I think I've done justice to this. It's not easy, but let's go. All right. Good. So what is blockchain? I've talked about blockchain like a million times. What is it? What is blockchain? What is blockchain? So let me hear from you guys. Let's make the class a little bit more interactive now. I've been talking, so let me not talk. Because I know a lot of you have done survey or read before the boot camp. They want to know what blockchain is. They have asked ChatGPT. They have asked Google. Google is even tired of you, right? They have asked their friends. Some have gone to George's DM and they want to know what blockchain is. So let's hear from you. A few of you guys, just tell me what you think blockchain is, what you understand by this technology, in your own words. So that's what I want to know before I will tell you. I don't fuck up. Before I will tell you in my own words what blockchain is. All right, so I'll mute my mic now and then hear from you. So Safia, let's hear from you. Is that the name, Safia? Or is she not raising up her hands? Yeah, Jethro, let's hear you.
Okay, there is this definition that is so much like it says blockchain is a digital database or ledger that is being distributed among nodes of a peer-to-peer network. So as you earlier said, blockchain is actually decentralized, and decentralized in the sense that this database, the digital database or the ledger, is being distributed on millions of local devices worldwide. So it is not saving this data in a central server, but in different local devices around the world. So that's just a little I can say about blockchain.
Okay, that's great. But that's a lot of big terminologies for me, who is a newbie, who wants to start learning about blockchain today.
Yes, sir. Good
Yeah.
morning.
Hello, how you doing?
Hello, can you hear me?
All right, proceed. Yes, I can hear you.
So, blockchain is a decentralized system, meaning that there is no one that controls it.
Nice. Yeah, that makes sense. That's straightforward and straight to the point. No one controls it. There's no Tinubu or there's no Donald Trump to determine what's happening next, right? No control. It happens autonomously. So we are adults now. That's what the internet is saying today. We are adults. We don't want anybody to control us. You know, before, most of us were, or some people will not still understand the joke because some of us are still living with our parents. Okay, so let me just leave that one. Yeah, I need more inputs. I have over 47 people on this call. There's supposed to be a lot of people talking. I'm tired. I don't talk too much. I can't talk for 3 hours straight. It's not possible now. I'm not a radio. Even Spotify will pause and do adverts.
Okay, so so from what I understand about the blockchain is decentralized and is also transparent in the sense that whatever anybody does, anybody have the authority or the freedom to check anything. That's making it transparent.
Transparency. I like that. Another word is introduced. So these guys, they have talked about two words. The first person and Safia talked about the first one, which is, he says decentralized, right? Now the second guy is bringing another word. Now he says transparent. So let's just take note of these words while we proceed. because me, I would love us to break it down because I'm not good with English, so that I can understand the English much more better. So it's transparent. So why do we want it to be transparent? Like in the case of INEC, like I started explaining, right? They are doing election, but we don't know whether it's transparent or not too. I don't want to talk before they come and pick me. Nigerians will understand. So they are doing the election, but we don't know. They determine the results that come on to us at the final stage. At times, the result that is being collated or the result that is being counted in Kaduna, when the result gets to Abuja for the final collation, it turns to be another result. I think, for example, they can count 1,000 people, and then we go to Abuja and it's only 500 people we are hearing that have been counted. Right? Good. No transparency. So blockchain wants to bring in transparency. How do we make this election now to be open for everybody to see while everybody is voting? And let's know that it's the right people that are voting, right? No third parties. Transparency. I like that. And even in the judgment, after INEC is done with us, they take it to the courts. Another third party again. What is happening? How can the system be fair? How can it be transparent? So even though it is being transparent in the first phase, another third party will still pick it up and make it non-transparent. Right? So that's why I told you, the aim of blockchain is to take out people like banks. So if you are working in the bank, I'm sorry to say, you will be losing your job very soon. And then if you are working in INEC, I'm very sorry, you will be losing your job too very soon. So if you have your friends, your sisters, your siblings that are working in INEC, go and tell them, go and tell them, please go and join another different, go and find another stream of income. Because very soon you might be losing your job. Right? So this is one of some of the things that blockchain is going to be solving. That's why it's emerging. So once it comes, it's going to take out all of people who lose their jobs. I've mentioned these people, bankers, I've mentioned INEC officials, and then courts now. Yes, if you are a judge, if you are a barrister, if you are a lawyer, sorry, your 10 years or your 7 years in the university will be gone. Right? So these are anything that has to do with third party, just know that it is bye-bye. That's what blockchain is coming to it. Yes. Oh, we have a lawyer. Habib is a lawyer. So, Habib, I'm sorry. Oh. All right. Okay, Farida, let's hear from you. You guys are not talking. I beg. I have to hear from more people.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Farida.
So I wanted to use the system of like economy to kind of explain the whole decentralization process.
Yeah.
From what I understand, so you know how we have socialism and capitalism, whereby socialism is where the flow of economy is controlled by private individuals, and then capitalism it's controlled by the government. So we assume the governments are the like third parties, as you mentioned, the banks and all that, while the private individuals are now us, the locals, having access to these informations and these databases. So basically, I'm guessing Web 2 to Web 3 is kind of like moving from capitalism to socialism, where we remove the government as the main owners of remove the government, which is like in this case the third parties and the owners of the large tech companies that own these informations. We remove them and replace them with the private individuals, which is everybody now having access to these databases.
I like that. That's just what we are trying to do. Like democracy. What's it? They say democracy is government for the people by the people, right? Good. We making our own choices. We determining what we want. Everybody has control of his information. That is where we are going to. I like that. And I'm happy they are. So, any economists in the house? No, nobody study economics here. All right, more people. Let me hear your points. I will move on till I hear a few more people. So better speak if you want the class to continue going. Except it's not interesting, then you tell me and then I step back. And then I give you videos to watch that are more interesting. So if you're not talking, it means the class is not interesting. So let me know. No, more people need to talk. A lot of you have checked it. So tell me. David Simon. Okay, nice. Abdul Salman. Abdul Salam. What's up?
Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Hello, can you hear me? Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
I, from my own point of view, from my own understanding, I see Web3 as a decentralized ecosystem whereby it gives people access to have control and be in charge of their resources. From my own point of view.
Yeah. Makes sense. Still talking about the same control, right?
Yes, sir.
More people, please. I'll call names. So. Yeah, Darius. Daniel, let's hear from you. What do you think blockchain is? If you guys don't speak, it means you're not ready for the boot camp. I'm sure you must have checked this out. I'm not hearing from a lot of people. I just heard from like 4 people out of 40 something. That's like how many percent of the class? 10%. I should hear from more. All right, let me proceed. See, people are not interested. Okay, now back to this. What is blockchain now? So remember I told you guys, blockchain is being, or Web3 is being powered by the blockchain technology, right? So for us to understand what Web3 is, we need to understand what blockchain is. So what is blockchain? So blockchain is a decentralized, distributed digital ledger that records transactions across many computers. Now this is, it sounds straightforward, but very complex. So a lot of people have highlighted decentralized. So in other words, let me explain what a blockchain is. So a blockchain is a decentralized, immutable, transparent list of data. So The computer is being built so that information can be passed across, or the internet currently is information being passed across, or data being passed across from one computer to another, being saved in a particular database, right? And then all the information is being retrieved from that particular database. But blockchain is a decentralized distributed ledger. So what is a ledger? Now back to economics now. You need to understand, let's understand this properly. Or let me give you a more better explanation. So let's look at blockchain like a Google spreadsheet. So let me open a Google spreadsheet here. Let's have a look at it. So a Google spreadsheet is going to give us a proper explanation of what let me open this. Good. So I want us to participate in a very short exercise. So let me explain a simple concept about the blockchain. Name. So I want to explain the blockchain using the simple concept of an attendance system. So most of us has gone to school, right? And then in school, you have an attendance system where the teacher comes in and then asks or calls your name, and then you answer whether present or absent, right? Wait. Where am I? I'm lost. Okay, yeah, back here. Good. Yeah. So in a simple attendance system, what happens is, for those of you that, if it's in secondary school, the teacher comes in, he has a list of all the students, and then he calls the student names, and then the student answer, and then he checks in if the student is available or not. If you graduate and get, or let's say a simple working system, take for example, you work for a company, and then the company wants to keep track of the total attendance of students who are being, or the total amount of, the staff who are at work today, and the time at which everybody came in. So what happens is, they created a sheet. So if immediately you came to work, immediately you check into work, what happens is you are going to insert the time you came in, and then you sign, right? Then when you are going out, you put your time out, then you sign, right? So that the company is going to be able to know when this person came in, and then when the person went out. When you came in, when you left, when you came to work, and then when you left. That's what happens in a normal Nigerian working system, right? So let's see if you have worked in a company or you have worked in a normal formal system before. You have done 9 to 5. Just raise up your hand. Let me see. So I will know people that will relate. Let me know whether my explanation would be based on school or based on work. Okay, if you guys have done 9 to 5. Nice. All right. So let's do a simple example now with this class. So the example is with this Google Sheet. So we are going to work on this Google Sheet as a database, right? Whereby we all have access to this Google Sheets, right? This database. So I can choose to make this Google Sheets to be what now? I can choose to make this Google Sheet open to everybody. So everybody can have access to this Google Sheet, make changes, enter their name, enter the time they came in and the time they left, right? Good. And then that's just basically how we can look at the blockchain. This is our database. This Google Sheet can save the list of everybody that came in today and the time that the person went out, right? Good. So in this case, we are considering this sheet as our database. So how do we liken this to a blockchain system now? Anybody in a normal centralized system, I will be the only person that have access to this Google Sheet. So how it was happening before was, let me give this simple example. Many of us have worked with Google Sheets, right? I can choose to edit it and make this sheet to be edited by only me. That is, I'm the only person that can be able to add a person's name here and put the person's time in and the person's time out. And then every other person in this class, the only job you will have to do is just to have a look at it. And also, I can be able to make it in such a way that it's going to be decentralized and open to everybody, in such a way that everybody can everybody can have access to this, and everybody can enter their information. So let me give you this simple, let's do this simple explanation now. This simple practical. So I will be, Chukwemeka, can you mute your mic? So I'll be sending this Google link now, this sheet now, then I'll pin it. So I'm pinning this message. So everybody, a few of you should just go to this place. A few of you should just come into this file and join me. And then enter your name. Just put a dummy time in and the time that you left. Yeah, I'm waiting for a few of you to join.
Please, can you grant us access?
Okay. Wait, is this my Google Sheet? I'm coming. Oh, this is not my account.
Excuse me, guys. There is an attendance sheet being dropped on the comment section. Do well to check it and sign in.
So guys, enter this one instead. Let me unpin the other one.
Sorry, my boss is view only the sheet.
Yeah, I can see you guys now. Yeah, are we together? Yeah, I've given access now on the sheet.
But the spreadsheet is view only. Can you allow us edit?
Yeah, you can edit now. All right, guys. Yeah, so it's okay. I think we can proceed from here now. So we all had a look at what was happening, right? Everybody has access to one spreadsheet to be able to insert their information, right? And everybody is allowed to enter his name and then the time he came in and the time he checked out. And everybody can be able to see it while we are doing it. Right? Good. So In a centralized, imagine a centralized system like the local Excel sheet you have in your device. You know, if you have, if you use the normal Excel, you will be the guy that you will be the only person that have access to that particular sheet, right? And then you will be the person that can be able to edit and do whatsoever thing that you want to do. And then the only time if you want somebody to add content or add any information in there, you can be able to copy what you have in your local device, send it to the person. Then the person will work with it. And still yet, the person can be making changes to the one in his local device that he cloned from you. But then the data can be different because you are not going to be having real-time updates of what the person is doing in your device. And thus, things might change, right? So what am I trying to do now? I'm just trying to give you a simple example of how a centralized system and how a decentralized system works. So in a centralized system, there's one central database that is being controlled by just one central authority, which in this case is like our local Excel sheet. But in a decentralized database now, there is one central database that is being controlled by everybody, and everybody can be able to send their information into it. Like take, for example, what we just did now with this Google Sheet. And everybody can also have access to what is been happening here. You get the point? Like take, for example, now, in a local Excel sheet, if I'm the one that is in charge of collating the whole list of the people that came to class today, I can choose to write down the time or the time that I deserve or put in the exact amount of people that I want to be in the class. So like take, for example, now we can be 50 in this class, but in my attendance, I can choose to capture maybe just 45 people or 48. Simply maybe because I have issues with only two other people or three other people in the class. And then I choose not to put their name on the list. Because it's one central authority and it's being controlled by me and me alone, I can decide to do whatsoever I want to do with it. Are we clear? Or I can choose to enter everybody's details, and after I've done it, I will choose to delete it. Now, you don't know how many people came to class, and you cannot ask me. Simply because I have deleted the list. So with that, we don't know the total amount of people that came to class. That's what is happening with our normal centralized systems of today. But with these sheets, everybody has access to this data. Everybody can see what is happening. Immediately we make changes. Everybody can impute his own information at his own time, right? But then there's a problem because we can't entirely look at this Excel worksheet like a decentralized system. So currently now, we are looking at this like a Web2 system whereby you can read and write. So you can look at the time that BD Kelvin came to class, and then David Sharma can decide to insert the time that he also attended class. Right? Good. But then there's a problem. In simple terms, Emmanuel or Kabike might decide to, maybe Emmanuel came to class by 9:03, right? Like he stated here. And then he left by 12. But then somewhere along the line, Emmanuel heard that. Somewhere along the line, Emmanuel heard that, hey, there will be gifts given to the people that came exactly by 9 o'clock. So now, because Emmanuel has access to this spreadsheet and also has the right to change it, Emmanuel can just run here and then change his own time to what? 9 o'clock. And then when it's time to share gifts, we are going to give Emmanuel gifts for coming by 9 o'clock. This simply means that in this list of data or this ledger of data, it is currently mutable. That is, it can be changed. It can be altered. That is what is happening with our normal Web2 today. If data is being stored on a database, like take for example, Facebook, you can go back and delete that particular information, take it out, clear the messages, and then nobody is going to have access to it again. And then with this, there's what is being called, there's a cheating in the system. So people who have control over this database are the people that can be able to manipulate whatsoever is being done. Like take for example now, I can play a Web2 system for a Web2 platform for you now. I can just turn off the sharing. So instead of everybody to be an auditor, I will make everybody to be a viewer. And I will be the only editor of this database. Right? And I can decide to change anybody's time. Like take for example, Darius. I can change Darius' time now to 9. I would say Darius came by 10:08. He's lying. He came by 10. Good. Daniel came by 10:08. Now I have the right to change it. So Daniel, try to change your time back now. Let's see. Is Daniel on the call? Okay. So since I've disabled everybody from being an audio editor now, if Daniel tries to change his time, he cannot be able to change it. Simply because he doesn't have the right now to be able to change it. Now that's what is happening too. And thus with this, I can even choose to stop sharing this database. Right? I can choose to copy all this data, go and create another different form, paste it there, delete this one. And even though you guys come here, you will not be able to see the information of which time anybody came. Now, that's what is happening. That is the control that is currently happening in our normal Web2 platforms currently, like Facebook, Twitter, and the rest of them. They have rights, or we post our informations in here by our own selves, but they can choose to do whatsoever they want to do with it. They can choose to copy it and give it to another different platform to make use of it. Have you ever seen, maybe you are just sitting down and just receive email from people that you have never received email before in your life? Like let's say for example, Temu. How many of us know Temu? Good. Thank God, a lot of people know Temu. When you started receiving emails from Temu, or you started seeing ads or things from Temu, did you have to interact with Temu first? Most of us didn't interact with Temu. You get the point? Temu got your data automatically from another set of people, because there's another platform that has your email. Good. So I'm just trying to explain the inefficiencies of Web2 platforms currently. So you see what Web3 is solving. And then mind you, all these technologies are interrelated with one another. So don't go and be saying, because I was doing Web2 before, now I'm doing Web3, I've stopped Web2. No. All the whole technologies are the same technology. Remember, I told you Web1 is read only. Web2 is read and write. Web3 is read, write, and own. They are not cleaning anything. They didn't say Web3 is own. They didn't say Web2 is only write. Let's not read, let's only write. But this time around, every technology is contained by the other set of technology that is coming after it. Like Web1, read only. Web2 did not say I'm write only. Web2 said I'm read and write. Right? Perfect. So I just hope you guys understand the concept. So in the blockchain now, everybody has right and has access to be able to update his data in here. But in the blockchain, what's happening is, so long as you have made changes and you have entered your information here, you don't have the right to change it. So in this case, the blockchain is immutable. Now, I want to explain 3 different words for you. The first word is decentralized. That's the popular word that all of us have been talking about, right? So decentralized simply means that the blockchain is not controlled by one central authority. Everybody has access and have control over it, which in this case is just like this Google Sheet that we are working with. everybody has the right to input his information and input his data inside of this Google Sheet. And everybody has the right to see what is happening directly in this Google Sheet. If I make any real-time changes here, you'll be seeing while I'm making the changes, right? Good. That's how the blockchain is being decentralized. When you say something is decentralized, it's open to everyone. It's not controlled by only one central person. So in this case, since I have the right to switch myself here to be the only editor of this file, it means this Google Sheet is not decentralized completely. Simply because I have the right to tweak, I can have the right to say who can change and who cannot change any information here. Good. So can I proceed now? So decentralized means everybody has access to this file. So take for example now, if my computer dies, you people can still have access to view this information. The blockchain is decentralized. Next, transparent. Transparent means it is open, right? So as everybody is entering this information, automatically we can be able to see what the person is entering. And then we know what's happening within this file. So if this was existing only in my local device and I don't show you people your attendance, I'm the one who is just entering the information. If somebody enters his date, the time he entered, nobody will know. There can be a rigging in the system. And I can decide to favor anybody I want to favor based on the time. If there's going to be a particular gift or anything being given. Right? But for the blockchain to be transparent means everybody can see whatsoever is happening. Immediately there is changes. As soon as Abdulaziz is typing his name, we are seeing it. Are we clear? The blockchain is transparent. Everybody can see what is happening on the blockchain. And we'll go proper to explain that. So, next up. Immutable. Now, immutable is what this particular attendance sheet doesn't do. So when I say something is immutable, it means something cannot be changed. So, take for example, if you enter your information here and enter your time in, your time out, nobody can be able to change it. Even me, who is the editor, cannot be able to change that information. Even you, who inserted that information, you cannot be able to change it. It exists and it lives in the blockchain forever. Are we clear? So, what is one of the things that this thing is solving? Now, imagine if, like I said, there's going to be gifts for people that are going to be giving, people that came exactly by 9 o'clock. And then now I heard the news that there will be gifts. And then I rushed. And then I want to favor a few people here because they are my friends. And then I changed the time that they came into class from 12 or 10 to 9 o'clock, simply because they bribed me with money. In Web 2, that can work. Manipulation can be done with the data. But in Web 3, everything that happens stays in there. How do I make this better? Like, take for example, after the general elections, probably the results, like I explained probably in Kaduna, they might count that maybe APC had 500 voters in Kaduna. And then they took the results to Abuja. And then in Abuja, they can choose to change the figures simply because they have access to the database, which is in that case Beavers, right? Or what did they make use of? The machine that was collating all the what we were voting. So as soon as we vote, automatically it sends the information. That works perfectly, but the problem is they have the right to also change it. So the machine can count that 500 people voted, But then in the database, simply because they have the right to update it without us knowing that they updated it, they can choose to go and change it from 500,000 to 1 million. And then nothing will happen because nobody knows and nobody has proof that this is what happened and this is what changed. You get the point? But on the blockchain, as soon as 500 is being counted, 500,000 is being counted and recorded, it can never be altered or changed. So it lives there forever. If we trace back, we can be able to see what happened. Are we clear? Perfect. So we understand this much more better. So I'm sure with this small concept I explained, there are a bit of confusions. So I will also stop by to take that. So let me get confusions from you people. Who is confused? Who has a question for me? This time around, I'm not telling you to explain anything. Just tell me if you have a question. Let me know. No question. I can proceed. Abdul Salam, can you drop down your hand? All right. So we're talking about what the blockchain is, and then I explained the concept of decentralization, right? And then a distributed digital ledger. So the ledger is simply like this, what I just explained now about the spreadsheet. A spreadsheet is a simple example of a ledger, right? Yeah, just to proceed.
Okay, so I have a question. You made mention of blockchain being decentralized, and then you still made mention that we can control our data. And from the definition I saw on your slide, like this data are being shared across different devices. And then how can you own data that are shared across different devices? That's where my confusion is coming from. So I need clarity on the explanation of how we can own the data, but the data are distributed or decentralized.
Good. So when they say ownership in this context, it doesn't mean that it exists with you and you alone. Are we clear? But you are the one that has rights over it. So let me explain in this simple concept. Like in the concept of servers, like I explained, in Web 2, there's only one central server that controls all information. All informations are saved there. And if it's down, you cannot be able to have access to it. But then all your information now is being saved on multiple devices. In this time around, let's not just call them devices. We are beginning to get more technical. Let's call them nodes. So the blockchain call them nodes. So these nodes are servers interconnected with one another, just so that there can be 100% or 0% zero downtime. So if your information cannot be served from one particular server, you can be able to get it from another place. And then transparency in such a way that everybody's data lives in all of these nodes. So we all can be able to see what is happening around the blockchain. That's the concept of transparency now I'm trying to explain to you. So decentralization is being achieved with nodes having all the data and not being controlled by one single person. No one central authority. 2, transparency. Everybody has access to see whatsoever is happening. Right? 3, ownership. Your information and your data is being controlled by you and you alone. In simple terms, if you have worked with cryptocurrency before, if you have Bitcoin, or let's start from Naira. If you want to send money to another person, let's say you want to send money to your mom or your friend, first and foremost, all you just have to do is go to your bank, right? Before, in the former way, you go to your bank. Let's say, for example, there are no even bank apps. You go to your bank, you sign your money, and then your money gives you the bank gives you your money, right? In this case, it's the bank that is being holding your money. So in simple time, at that point, it only looks like you are the one that have the money, but trust me, you don't own your money. Forget that the money is with the bank and you can get it anytime. At that point, the money is not owned by you. The money is owned by the bank. And if the bank shuts down and run with your money today, there's nothing you can do about it, except there is an insurance policy. Are we clear? So in the concept of ownership, now what I'm trying to say, in the concept of blockchain, when you have money that exists with you in the blockchain, like take for example, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, that money is not being saved with anybody or being kept with anybody at all. That money is owned directly by you and can only be controlled by you. Do you understand what the concept of ownership now we are trying to introduce? Perfect. Perfect. So you understand more. Now, another concept I want you guys to understand is this. You are trying to learn a new technology. Now, trust me, in the next couple of weeks, you are supposed to be a crazy reader. If you don't like reading, I'm so sorry, but Web3 is not for you. Because, yes, because Web3 is 90% reading. Because the technology is still new. Like you see here, like I wrote, it wrote emerging technology. It's not here yet. Adoption is still yet to come. So Web3 is currently not only in a building phase, but in a research phase. So a lot of reading is being needed currently. Not only for you to be able to build in the technology, but for you to understand what's happening in the technology first. Before you can hand over and say, I want to be building on it. So I advise you guys a lot of reading from today. Your work is just to be reading. If you are bored and you are tired of reading, you can head back to and be doing your normal Web2 stuff because you still need those knowledge here. So anytime you are tired of reading, you can just do a little bit of React or a little bit of Node.js, anything you were doing at all, or Vue or Next. Then continue reading because reading might get exhausting at times. But trust me, 90% of the time, what you are doing is reading because it's a new technology and it's in a research phase. Perfect. So I think I've explained most of these concepts. Decentralized, distributed digital ledger, like the spreadsheet I explained, that records transactions. Good. So another word again that is being introduced here, transactions. Now we'll talk about that. This is supposed to be introduced like tomorrow. So let me not talk about it today again. So let's consider transaction as every change is being made on the blockchain. Like take for example, let's say, you remember I said the blockchain is a distributed digital ledger, right? And then we are using an Excel spreadsheet as an example of a digital distributed ledger because it's distributed because everybody has access to it and everybody can see it in his computer. It's digital because we have access to it over the internet. And then it's a ledger because everybody can choose to input information into it. So it records transactions. Now, transactions are the records that we have been adding into the blockchain now. Since it's a ledger, transactions are the records being added into the ledger. Like take for example, when, where's the sheet? Okay, escape. Yeah, like take for example, when BD Kelvin entered his name, time in and time out, this on the blockchain is being considered as a transaction. Anytime a record is being added, it is considered as a transaction. So in this case, how many transactions can we say we have here? 1, 2, about 28 people added their names here, or 25 thereabout. So about 25 transactions were being made to this ledger to be able to change its current state. Because imagine before, first and foremost, it was BD, before Shama entered his name, before Emmanuel, before Abel, like that, and it kept going. And then the lists are being updated, and people can still update it till now. Right? So consider the blockchain like this spreadsheet, and then everybody has access to it, and it's distributed to everybody, and everybody can enter their information inside of this blockchain. And for every information that is being entered, it is being regarded as a transaction. Hello. I don't think these guys are with me. Nice. Yeah, question. Femi. Femi.
Sorry, sir, that was a mistake. Sorry.
Okay. So let's proceed now. Back to the slides. So, and then once, like I mentioned, once information has been recorded, data cannot be altered retroactively. So if you have made that transaction, you cannot alter it. Whatsoever happened, once you have entered your information into the ledger or into the list, it cannot be changed. This is to improve transparency and the rest of it, right? Like popularly, people say the blockchain is to solve the problem of broken promises. So the blockchain fixes broken promises. So a lot of people promise you something and then they don't keep up to it. Or you might have a legal agreement in the courts, but then the second party might not choose to keep up to it. Maybe a particular promise was made and been broken. So that's what one of the things that the blockchain is being here to fix. We'll understand that better. Then I already explained this, no central authority. I've been buttressing on these guys since. Then lastly, the blockchain is often described as chain of blocks containing digital information. So when I asked you guys what blockchain is, I actually thought somebody was going to give me this explanation. So when it was tell me it's a block of chains or is a chain of blocks. Yeah. So subsequently, we'll understand what blocks are and what the chain truly is before we understand what's happening properly. So we are done with what is blockchain, and then it's left for you guys to go into more study to understand what it is. All right, on to the next. So how the blockchain works. How the blockchain works. Let's just understand how it works. So someone requests a transaction. Like I told you, a transaction is every record that is being added to the ledger, right? Like I explained it with this spreadsheet. So when BD Kelvin was entering his information, BD Kelvin was requesting or he was submitting a transaction at that point. So what happens in the blockchain is before the time that before his name and time in and time out is going to get publicized for everybody to see. The transaction is going to be broadcasted first to a particular node. So first and foremost, one of the server is going to pick in his information that he's trying to post to the blockchain and then verify this information to see whether he's right or true. Like take, for example, let's use this as a very short example. Let's say BD Kelvin is submitting that he came to class by 9. So as soon as he's submitting the transaction, the blockchain or the node will first check if the transaction is valid or not. Good. So first, it's being broadcasted to the network, which is being submitted to a particular node. That is this one. So when it is being submitted, the network validates that the transaction using algorithm to check if the transaction is being valid. Like take for example, BD Kelvin might submit that he came to class by 9, but then that transaction, the time he's submitting the transaction is by 10 o'clock. So the blockchain will then do its validation and say, how can you say you are coming to class by 9 when the current time is 7:10 o'clock? And it's now you are trying to you want us to enter your information into the ledger. This guy, you are a fraudster. It will then kick him out and tell him, no, you are not allowed to post your information to the blockchain. Are we clear? Do you understand the concept? Good. So the network checks every record you are trying to validate and then post it. Because all of us are sharing one central database. So in as much as it looks like a public good, it's also a problem. Do you know that? Because everybody has access to that particular thing. So fraudulent information can be choked in there. And then that can lead a lot of people astray. So before any information can be saved in the blockchain, it has to be properly validated. And then this validation is being done by certain algorithms. Don't worry about the algorithms for now. While we are going through, we will understand them properly. Because we still have 2 more days to explain these concepts of the blockchain. Good. So next up, so remember, all of us are using one single database, right? Like take for example, now when you are using Twitter, another person is using WhatsApp. We are all posting our information to 2 different databases, and nothing concerns 2 of them with each other. That's why if you go to Facebook and you want to sign up on Facebook, Facebook will ask you for your email and your password. If you go to Twitter, Twitter will still ask you for your email and password. If you go to YouTube, YouTube will still ask you for your email and password. Every social media you go, virtually everybody's asking you for email and password, simply because the database are independent of each other. But imagine these systems being on the blockchain. If the blockchain has your email and password once, you don't have to sign it up anywhere again. Like take for example, if Twitter, Facebook, and the rest of them are all working on the blockchain, if you sign up your email and password in Twitter, you don't have to sign up anywhere again like Facebook. If you go to Facebook, Facebook will recognize and know this is you. If you go to Instagram, Instagram will recognize and know that this is you, without you providing your email and your password again to be stored in another location. Are we clear? So all your data are being shared by different places in one specific location. That is, all data is being stored on the blockchain and is the same piece of information that is being contained in all these several nodes that you also have access to. So let me break this explanation down, because even me that I explain this one now, I'm confused. There are a few things I want us to have a look at. These nodes, we are going to have a pictorial view of them. This node, I said there are multiple servers, right? So instead of us having one server, we have plenty servers that are interconnected with one place. So what happens here is, in a centralized world, your information is being stored only in one place. But in a decentralized world, when you store your information to the nodes, when the nodes receive your information, it propagates it and sends it to every other nodes that exists on the network. So all of them can have the same copy of that particular ledger. Are we clear? Like in this case of this ledger now, as soon as it is being changed, because this attendance system is being shared across all our devices and all of us have access to it. As soon as somebody is making changes, ASAP, it is propagating it to all of us so that all of us can be able to see. Now, if Darius Daniel wants to change his name here, if it's entering his information here, he's doing it directly from his local, his own device or his own browser. But this is being propagated to all of us so that everybody can be able to see in real time what he's doing. All right. So back to this. So we'll look at a pictorial view of this properly. I think there's somewhere I'm supposed to find this. Let me see. Just hang on, guys. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nobody has a pictorial view to explain this. I'm coming. Yep. So this is what the nodes look like. Can we see? So this is what they look like. This is a single node, but then notice they are all interconnected to one another, right? Like this guy is connected to this guy, this guy is connected to this guy, this guy is connected to this guy, this one is connected to this guy, is connected to this guy is connected to this guy. Can you see? This guy is not even connected to this guy directly. But notice, this guy is connected to this guy and thus connected to this guy. So in this case, in our traditional system, these are individual servers. These nodes exist as servers on their own. So in a centralized body, this might be Facebook database. And then because this data exists only in Facebook database, anytime that this database is down, we cannot be able to have access to our data. But with nodes, what happens is each of these guys are interconnected with each other. So when you post your data, take for example, you post a picture and it is being propagated by this node is going to broadcast the information to other nodes that it is being paired to. So take, for example, this guy is connected to this guy, right? So as soon as this node receives an information, it sends it to this guy. As soon as it sends it to this guy receives, it sends it to this other guy. Can you see how these lines are going? So that your single information that is being received here will be sent up to all when everybody has the current state of that particular data. So in this case, when you are trying to access your information, and then let's say your information is here, and then this place is currently down, what will happen is this line is going to redirect you automatically to this guy or this guy. So simply because you posted your information to this guy and this guy gave it to this guy and this guy, and thus this one gave it to these all other guys to keep it for them. If this guy is down and you go to get your information from this guy, the network will redirect you back here so that you can be able to get your information here. And then because this guy gave your information to this guy, you can be able to have your information here. If this guy is also down, it will redirect to this guy. Like that. That's how it keeps going. And that's why there is no single point of entry in a decentralized or in a blockchain system. Simply because in a centralized authority, you're only giving your data direct here. So anytime you come to ask for it, you will know what, get it. Are we clear? So these are short example of the nodes. So we can just see from this definition what the nodes are. So an Ethereum node is simply any computer running the software needed to connect. Oh no, this is Ethereum actually. Now, the main aim of today's class is I don't want to teach you what Web3 and blockchain is with the concept of any blockchain in mind. I just want to teach it in a normal and a natural sense. Because if you notice, there are a lot of blockchain networks right now, right? How many of us notice? You have Bitcoin, you have Ethereum, you have Solana, you have Starknet, you have Leaks, Base, Zion, etc. Different networks. But at the end of the day, all of them are the underlying technology is still working with the blockchain technology. And thus, they are mostly the same things that they are doing. Just a few things might change. But the components of every blockchain is the same because there are certain rules that has to be followed for a blockchain to be built. So we are going to understand that while we go deep into our study. But I don't aim to teach you guys this with the concept of any this thing in mind. So, each node maintains its own copy of the blockchain and works to ensure that the copy checks out with all other nodes and their respective copies. Anytime you do anything, a new block needs to be added to the blockchain. Every single node on the network has to process it. So this is what a blockchain looks like in simple terms. Can you see? Just a block of information. And then in this block of information is being contained of transactions. And then I told you guys in simple terms what transactions are. I said transactions are just the record change that we do on the blockchain, right? Like take, for example, that spreadsheet now I gave you guys to add your attendance, your name, and your time in and time out. I told you guys for every entry of name and time in and time out on the blockchain, it is being recorded as a transaction, right? Good. So a collection of all of these transactions now in this particular list of data. Where's this guy? Can't find the sheet. Okay. So for every piece of information you save here, I told you guys, like this is considered a transaction. This is considered a transaction like that. But then a whole bunch of all of these transactions is being called a block. So when BD sends his name, David sends his name, everybody enters his information here. I will gather all your attendance and then send it to FiTech community. and then tell FiTech, hey, this is the list of people that attended class today. And then if they open the list, in this case, it is being, let's call it a block. So this is a block of people that attended class today. So FiTech community will collect that block and then store it. This time around, let's consider FiTech community as the blockchain. So anything we do here, we send it to FiTech. So you make your transaction, I gather it in a block, send it to FiTech, and then FiTech checks. Oh, and then FiTech then save it in their details. Tomorrow we do the same thing. And then when we send tomorrow's details, FiTech is going to attach today's own to tomorrow's details, like that, and it keeps going. So the block contains bunch of transactions that is being propagated to the network. And then this network are being chained together. These blocks are being chained together. That's what gives rise to what is called a blockchain. So let me explain another concept properly right now. So how are these blocks being chained together? Because remember, the blockchain is a secured way to store our data. And then this data can be changed and manipulated by everybody. Everybody can insert the data. So how can this be secured? So let's talk about the blockchain security now. So if I gather all this your transaction and then I give it to FiTech community, tomorrow when I gather your information again, the total amount of people that came to class, and I give it to FiTech, FiTech is going to take day one and then chain day one together with day two. How are they going to chain day one together with day two? I don't want to go too advanced. To be honest, I want to explain this concept in a very light mode today. So when you guys go and read tomorrow, I might get much more technical. I don't want to go deep. I'm holding myself. But currently, what I'm even starting to explain now, if I continue, I will go deep. But let's shun that. Let's just finish our slides. Then we head over. So let's not stress about nodes today. Don't worry about it. Let's just look at it in an open sense. As laymen. So like I said, verified transactions are being combined to create a block, right? And then a block is a bunch of transactions, like I explained to you guys earlier on. Right? Perfect. So a block is then added to the existing blockchain. So from today now, if you go home now, you can give simple example of what a blockchain is. Because I've explained what a block is. A block is a bunch, it's a list or a bunch of transactions. And a transaction is every change that happens on the blockchain, right? Or every record that is being stored into the ledger. So the block is then added to the existing blockchain, and then the transaction is complete and permanent. And they can never be changed together. So we'll understand how this permanence is being achieved, possibly in this class or in next classes to understand well. We understand how this permanence is being achieved, and then how the blockchain is also being achieved. How the blocks are being chained together to bring together this word called the blockchain. So enough of this. Let's just jump over to the key concepts of the blockchain. So I've explained some of these before, right? I'm coming, guys. So these are the key concepts of the blockchain that everyone needs to know, right? So before the end, by the end of this class today, I think this should be your first assignment. Everybody should go and do an in-depth study of each of these concepts, understand what they are, because that's what makes up the blockchain. Or we'll talk about the components of the blockchain subsequently, maybe by tomorrow or so. But then today, I just want to do a soft introduction so that I will not leave a lot of people with confusion. Because if you are confused today, tomorrow I will just add to your confusion, and then to the end of the bootcamp, you will be confused. So key concepts, decentralization. So decentralization simply means no single point of control. That is, nobody has control over any data. Everything is being done autonomously, right? Next, transparency, which is public verification of all transactions. So everybody can see what is happening. It's open. As soon as you enter your information, everybody sees it. Everybody knows. So even though, next, immutability. Once recorded, data cannot be changed. Like I told you guys, once a transaction is made, it cannot be changed. Once it has been propagated into the network, it cannot be changed at all. Good. Next, consensus mechanism. How the blockchain agrees on valid transaction. So now we are going to start getting a bit in-depth and a bit technical. Now, trust me, anything that is being shared publicly, there has to be a lot of rules being attached to it. If not, people are going to misuse it. Hello. Good. Now I'm trying to explain one new more concept, which is the consensus mechanism. So remember, in centralized system, I told you guys it is being controlled by who? Only the big 10 companies, right? And the guys that have access to the database. These are the people who are controlling the centralized system, the database. So they decide what they want to do with it. They can wake up today and choose to say, I want to truncate the database, or I want to drop the database, or I want to add fraudulent data inside that nobody will know about, and the rest of them, right? Good. And then they have the right to do whatsoever they want to do. But then in the blockchain, we said we don't want to be using a centralized authority now. So all data, everybody's data is going to be in one central place. Not necessarily, let's not say one central place. Everybody's data is going to exist on the blockchain. But then the blockchain, the data in the blockchain is being shared across multiple devices. But at the end of the day, it's just one single copy that exists. Because every device must be in sync. The current data or that exists in the blockchain that exists in my particular local device, which might be a node, should be the same data that exists in your own node. Should be the same data that exists in another node in Lagos. Should be the same data that exists in another node in UK. Should be the same data that exists in another node in Atlanta or South Africa and the rest of them, right? That's how it's supposed to be. So how can that be possible? All of us are trying to share one particular thing now. Isn't there going to be a problem? Isn't it going to be rowdy? So there's what is being called consensus mechanism. So consensus mechanism are the rules that everybody must follow within the blockchain technology to be able to validate transactions. Now remember, those nodes are the guys that propagate transactions to the blockchain. And then transactions causes state change. State change causes change in data in the blockchain, right? Let's not go too deep. But just know that consensus mechanism controls how all of us share and can be able to access data and how data is being propagated on the internet. It is done using this consensus mechanism so that they can be controlled, because all of us are using one particular set of things, one particular set of data. And then if everybody comes with its own rules, then it is going to be misused. And then there will be problem. So all of us have to follow one specific rule to be able to achieve whatsoever we want, because we are all sharing one single technology, which is the blockchain technology, right? So that's just what this consensus mechanism does. The consensus mechanism is just the rules that governs what happens within the blockchain. Like take for example, in the world today, if there's going to be a world power, that is only one particular president is going to be ruling the whole world. You know what is happening currently now is, or let's use the federal and the state government for example. Perfect. That's the perfect example for this. So in Nigeria, we have 36 states, right? Each of these 36 states have 36 governors. Sorry, has a governor. That makes a total of 36 governors, right? And then the whole country has one president. So what happens is, any problems you have within your state, you table the problems to your governor. You table your problem to the governor, and then your governor now is going to tackle your problems or take the problems and then push it to what? To the president for everybody to have access to it, right? Or a better example, every state has a particular rules that governs them. Like take for example now, if you go to Abuja, or maybe you go to Lagos, you notice that when they are crossing their road, they make use of overhead bridges, right? So you don't cross the road directly. That is, just look left and right. You know, normally we people like us that are from Jos, or you are from where now? Few states that don't prioritize overhead bridges or don't have very large roads. So most states that have overhead bridges are states that have about 4, 5, 6 lanes, right? And it's going to be chaotic for you to be crossing the road. And these lanes are speed lanes that that cars are speeding on it. So most states have their own rules. Like take for example, the states that have 4, 5, 6 speed lanes, they'll tell you you have to use what's now? The overhead bridge to cross. Or you go to advanced countries, and then in advanced countries, you see that if you want to cross the road, you have to make use of the zebra crossing. So before you check the road, before you cross the road, you have to look for a zebra crossing to cross. So these are particular rules that might apply to maybe a particular state, or maybe you go to some states. For those of us that are in the far north, you hear of things like Hisba, where there are particular rules that is being set in that state. Maybe no drinking of alcohol, no smoking of cigarettes, or what. Those rules are particular to that particular state. So you might go to states like Castina, or you go to state like Sokoto, and then it's a taboo for you to drink. But you might go to states like Enugu, or go to states like Anambra, and then it is a taboo for you not to drink. Do we understand the concept? This is just on the lighter note, right? Good. So what I'm trying to say now is what I'm just trying to buttress is every state might have its own rules that applies only to that particular state. Good. But then generally, we have a country, which is Nigeria. And then Nigeria comprises of all of these 36 states. So in Nigeria now, there is a particular rule that is being shared by everybody across Nigeria. Which are what now? What's the rules? Is it constitution? What do they call it? I don't know. Right? So these rules are the rules that are being governed by it is a rule that is being controlled by, that controls what everybody acts or what everybody does within the country. Like, let me bring another scenario. Let's take, for example, now, there might be curfew in a particular state. Let's say in Jos, let me use Jos as an example. In Jos, Keke is not allowed to move from 6 p.m., no, from 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. So if you're using a tricycle, they don't move within that period of time. But then if you go to Kaduna, it's the direct opposite. Tricycles are allowed to move at any time, 2 a.m., 1 a.m. If you go to Lagos or you go to other states, it might be different, right? But then generally in Nigeria, for tricycles to be moving, it's not banned, right? There's no curfew generally in Nigeria. Tinubu did not set a particular law and say, hey, everybody do not go out by 6 a.m. or do not go out by 6 p.m. The rule is only applied to the people in Plateau State. There's a particular concept I'm trying to explain here. The rule is only applied to the people of Plateau State. That is 7 p.m., 6 a.m., no movement of tricycles. But then in Nigeria, which is the rules that governs everybody, if Tinubu sets a rule today and says, hey, everybody or every state, there is not going to be movement of tricycles from 6 p.m. to 7 a.m. Do you know what will happen? This rule is not going to be applied only in Jos Plateau State, but it's going to be applied directly to the whole Nigeria at large. So this is a simple example of consensus mechanism. So these are the rules that governs whatsoever happens within the blockchain. So consider Nigeria now as the blockchain. And then the consensus mechanism are the rules that governs we as Nigerians. So everybody must be able to follow that rules before your transactions are going to be valid and propagated on the blockchain. Are we clear? There are a lot of confusion in this consensus. But you guys should go deep and go and do your underground study merely after the class. So next up now, cryptography. So cryptography secures the data and the transaction. Good. So cryptography is a branch of mathematics. For those of you who are mathematicians who are in the class, this is for you. So cryptography secures the data and the transactions on the blockchain. So how can your data be secured? So this goes down to Jetro's question. Now, I wanted to introduce cryptography when he asked this question, but then I thought it was too early. But then this is the best time to explain that in this concept. So your data is being stored and secured on the blockchain, and the transaction has been secured with the aim of cryptography, with the help of cryptography. So now let's understand what is cryptography. First big question. What? Like I told you, it's a branch of mathematics, right? Cryptography. You guys have a lot of reading to be doing. So it says cryptography is the practice of developing and using coded algorithms to protect secure transmitted information, ensuring only authorized parties can access it by decrypting the message. It's essentially the science of making information secret. Are we clear now? So Jetro, this is how you have ownership of your data. Simply because your data is being stored not openly on the blockchain, but with the aid of cryptography. Let's look for a better explanation. Wikipedia. So Wikipedia says cryptography or cryptology is the practice and study of techniques for secure communication in the presence of adversarial behavior. Now, I'm avoiding big English. More generally, cryptography is more constructing and analyzing protocols in the we can't work with this one. To my favorite guy, ChatGPT, let's ask him what cryptography is. Good. So let's proceed. So cryptography is the practice of securing, hiding, and protecting information so that only the right people can read or use it. It's like writing a secret message that only your friend who knows the special code can understand. How it works, simple example. Imagine you and your friend agree on a secret way to scramble messages. All of us understand this. All of us have coded ways that we talk to each other, right? Or your friends. Good. So that's in the same way of cryptography. Cryptography is just a way of securing information. So cloning data. Like take for example, your friends now, you and your friends can choose to call food. You know, in most places now, most guys call food chow. So that initially, that chow word was not, it's chow a dictionary word. I think it might be. But everybody with his friends might have a local way that he chooses to call food. Right? And then when you call that word, only you and your friend understand. Yeah, like, yeah, Jetro, that's better, like woman now, or babe. Somebody will say Bunny. Now, anybody that doesn't know what Bunny is will not know that you are talking about a girl or a babe, right? So that's like the concept of cryptography. Good. So that makes sense. So cryptography is just the practice of securing, hiding, and protecting information so that only the right people can read and use it. And then it's been done in a mathematical way. It's a branch of mathematics. So let's understand why. So why cryptography is important. So it protects data. Like, for example, it keeps password, messages, bank details safe. It ensures privacy. That is, only the intended person can read the message. It verifies identity, helps confirm that a message or transaction is from a trusted source, e.g. digital signatures. We'll understand this better. Verifying this identity, very important. So that if you want to change or you want to make updates to your information, it knows that it's from a verified source. So we will understand this much better as we keep going about cryptography. So basically, this is just all for the slides. And then we have understood the key concept of how the blockchain works. And then I want you guys to take note of these words: decentralization, transparency, immutability, consensus mechanism, and what have you. So I'll also be sending, let me send a link to the documentation, sorry, to this guy now. So you guys can have access to it. But trust me, this is just a bare surface and a bare minimum of what the blockchain is that I have been trying to explain in like 2 hours, 30 minutes now. So you guys now are supposed to go into in-depth study to understand what each of these technologies is and how it works. And then understand the core concept. Whatsoever I explain here that is not properly understood by you, go back and then break it down, and then you will understand the concept properly. So let me send this now, the call, so you can be able to have access to it. So with this, we have come to the end of our slides, and then hopefully we have completed our agenda of the day, which is understanding what blockchain is, how it works, the key concepts, what Web3 is, the new technology, what Web1, Web2, and Web3 are. And I'm sure this is a good introduction to the world of building on the blockchain. So I will stop here and take questions. So I think 30 minutes is a lot of time that we'll use to break down your questions. If you have any confusion or if you have any more thing you feel you want us to talk about, we can introduce this. Today is the first class and it shouldn't be that boring like how it is now. So let me hear from you guys.
Luca,
Yeah, Richard, winner.
the slide, you need to make it accessible by everyone.
So it's not open for everyone.
Oh, okay. So we need to request access rights.
I'm coming. Yeah, so anybody who has access to the link can be able to view it.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. So let's get your questions, your feedback. There's no way there's not going to be questions today. If you don't have questions today, better come ready with questions for tomorrow, because I will get angry if there are no questions. If there are no questions, it simply means you are not reading. And like I told you, the blockchain now, you are in a phase of reading currently. Just keep reading. That is what you need at this point.
Please, I want to ask, please, what are the recommended books that we are meant to be reading in order to improve our knowledge in blockchain?
Okay. I'll give you a few informations today, and then I'm sure Fighter community will also communicate more to you. I'll give you a few that you can be working with. That's not a problem. Yeah, Farida, let's hear from you.
I wanted to ask something concerning the consensus mechanism. So, can it be said to be kind of like a verification process for information that has been uploaded on the blockchain, or like for transaction? Yes.
Perfect.
Yes, a verification process for transactions. Is that what
Yes.
it's kind of? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to confirm. Thank you.
That's what it is. It's a verification phase before informations are going to be propagated to the network for everybody to have access to it. So that's just what the consensus. And aside that, the consensus mechanism determines how these nodes interoperate. Because remember, data is being shared by everybody, right? On the blockchain.
Yes.
And everybody has access to it. So the consensus mechanism is the rules that everybody has to follow. Are we clear?
Yeah. Yes, I understand. Thank you.
So let's just look at it as the verification process. That makes sense.
Thank you.
Yeah, don't see.
Okay, sir. My question is about the cryptography. Just like you said, it's a bunch of mathematics, which maybe like kind of like few of your friends will understand. So let's say like a mathematician that knows maths very well, that can decode or decrypt the maths. Can he hack like the nodes or something like that?
Interesting question. We will understand properly how this works from the next few classes when we start going deep. Because I want you guys to go and read on the surface before I will start taking you guys so deep into what we are doing. Right? But then a mathematician can be able to do it. But not just an anyhow mathematician, with the help of like quantum computers or the rest of them. We'll understand properly when we go. So let's not confuse like others right now to explain this concept. Nice. So any more question? Yeah, so just to buttress this, who was the first person with the question? I think it was aside Tech Explorer, a lady asked a question. I can't remember who. We are explaining about the consensus and the verification process. Who asked that question? Okay, yeah, Farida. Yeah, so the verification process before the network will be propagated to the blockchain is normally known as validation, right? Or some people will call it mining. Some people will call it validation. So we will understand much better while we go. We'll be introducing these concepts gradually. But for now, you people should just go and read. I don't want to bug you with a lot of information for now. This is a lot of concept for you to read for today. So let's not bug you with much more explanation. So you guys just go and read, get your head open to understand what is happening, so that when we start treating these things in-depthly, you will understand what is happening. Trust me, if you don't read, from next class, you will get missing. And I'm not joking about it. Like in-depth reading to understand, not reading because you just want to read it. Reading to understand. If you don't read to understand, you are not going to get it in the next class. and then you will get missing, because I'm going to start getting technical more in terms of my words and in everything I use. So I expect you guys to read. Today, I only try to break this down in simpler terms because I'm imagining that you people have never come across it in your life. But from today, I will no longer consider that anybody has never come across it, because I've told you guys Web3 is reading. So if you know you cannot read, tomorrow's class, just don't come. By that, you are helping yourself. Yes, because you are not ready to read. So if you come, you will just be confused. So please and please go into proper reading. That's what I want you guys to be doing now. Just read, study. Make sure you understand it. Then you come to class. Then you and I will just be discussing. So our work will just be to discuss while I introduce concepts. Because I will not take it from tomorrow when I'm talking and then there is no question. I will not. I will be angry. It will mean that you are not reading. And I will not be happy. Because I cannot teach people who are not reading. It is just like you are deceiving me and deceiving yourself, because I'll be stressing too much to explain the concept for you. And then trust me, I don't want to stress. Nobody likes stress, right? Thank you guys for understanding. Abiola, let's take your question now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mano, and thank you for breaking it down for us. It was a lot to take in there. Okay, my question is, you were explaining the difference between Web 2 and Web 3. So my question is, you said if an entry has been made, like on the Web 3 platform, it cannot be altered or changed or make an update again. Even the same person that created that particular thing can't alter it again. So let's say, for example, I made a mistake. Is that mistake done forever?
Yes, sir. The
Hey.
blockchain doesn't accept your mistakes.
Oh boy.
So if you
That's
mistakenly go
crazy.
and send, if you mistakenly go and send 100 BTC to somebody instead of 1 BTC, I'm so sorry.
Wow.
Like it has
Okay,
gone.
no wonder whenever someone is trying to make a crypto transaction, they tell you all the addresses and everything. Make sure it's very, very exact,
Yeah,
because
you will
if you
confirm it 1,000 times.
it's
There's no
gone and
customer
lost
care.
forever.
You know, if your
Wow.
money get lost, you can go to Access Bank and jack the manager, and then your
Yes.
money will come out. Like if, for example, if you go to Access Bank now and you want to withdraw, they don't want to give you your money, you can jack them.
Okay.
Or maybe you made a mistake.
Hmm.
You can go and tell the bank, freeze the other person's account so that you will return back my money.
Wow.
Yeah, no customer care. No customer care. No customer care.
Almost these people like all these Luno and Co that made it look like it's centralized. Do they still have access to anything? Like, but is there limit to what they can do?
Yeah, there's actually. So
Okay.
you understand that much better. Don't worry. When you start writing
Okay.
smart contract, you understand the do's and don'ts,
Okay.
how people are manipulating the system, how people do things so that they will be in control of it, and the rest of them. You understand?
Okay. Okay.
So see, there's a lot to be learned in this bootcamp. That's what I want you guys to know. It's not an
Okay.
easy start. You know, when you are coming into something new like this, it sounds very interesting and everybody's happy to join you, right? But trust me,
Yeah.
I have taught a lot of people blockchain, and I'll tell you for free that the class always starts full. Like in this class today, we had about like 40 something people. But I assure you, from tomorrow's class, the number will drop, and it will keep dropping to the end of the world.
Wow. Okay.
So
Thank you
it's
very
not
much for that.
about being being happy that you are trying to learn about a new technology. Are you ready to read? That's my question for you people today. If you are not ready to read, please don't stress yourself. But if you are ready to read, please, Web3 is for you. Take the bull by the horn. Just start reading and keep going.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Someone, I think Tali was raising up his hand. Nanzin.
Sorry, you were talking about class tomorrow. I just wanted to address that. Today's class is on Thursday, not tomorrow.
Oh, Thursday. Thank God. Oh. Because even me, I was tired. I was thinking of how do we do this tomorrow again. All right, guys, Thursday then. So you people have a lot of time to read. Oh. You have a lot of time to read. So your first assignment is going to be this. You people are going to, all based on the agendas we did today, you people are going to go and read this in-depthly. And then you will come up with a very, very nice article that explains blockchain in simple terms to somebody. You started learning about blockchain today. Explain in your article to somebody that is going to start learning about blockchain tomorrow how you will go about it in simple terms. Basically, all what we did in class today. You can publish it to HackMD, to Medium, any of the posts at all. If you want us to see it, I'm not asking you to submit this, but if you want us to see it, you can just post it on your social media and then tag FiTech community. I should be able to see it there. Yeah, FiTech.
All right. Thank you very, very much, Manuel. So concerning the class, though you've said Thursday, but we're supposed to have 3 times a week. But because of the onboarding call yesterday, we could not hold that yesterday class. So I don't know if there'll be any makeup or we should just work with today and Thursday.
Oh, there's supposed to be a class on the onboarding.
No, it was supposed to be yesterday, but it was clashing with the onboarding call. So we just had to cancel the class.
Classes are Monday, Tuesday, and this thing, right?
And Thursdays, exactly.
Oh. So you guys have taken... Yeah, no, I think there has to be a time for that because 2 days is not going to be enough to take my own sessions. My sessions has to be 3. It even has to be more, but I'll take 3.
Okay. So do we do tomorrow and Thursday?
No, let's give them more time to read. Let's do Thursday and then pick another day. Maybe
okay, all right, that's fine.
Since the dev hour is
Saturday.
Since there will be no serious dev hour, we can just use it for a class. Since this is the first dev hour.
All right, cool. Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right, guys. So I'm going to stop here today and then give you guys a lot of time to go and read, understand this technology. And then, Fortune, yeah, proceed.
Morning, sir. And the question is, the key topics that we should study. You know, list them out.
Just go and check that agenda. Do you see this thing I gave you?
Yes.
Good. Just go and open the agenda. It's that agenda I want you to read.
Okay,
go and read everything. Do your own personal study.
All right.
Good.
Thank you.
So I will also introduce you guys to a few stuffs today. On your mobile phones, just head over and download this app, Wiser. It's spelled YZER. Are we together? Good. Wiser. So everybody should download Wiser and head over to start making challenges on Wiser. So how Wiser works? Wiser is a mobile app for education, strictly for the Bitcoin blockchain. So it helps you understand how Bitcoin works, virtually everything about it. So Bitcoin is the first blockchain, right? That went viral, popular, and bunch of stuffs that solves the real money problem. Just some people will tell you that Bitcoin is not the first blockchain, but in our own sense, let's consider it as the first. And for you to understand all other technologies and all other blockchains, we have to start from Bitcoin. So I expect you guys to go into in-depth study and study about from the Wiser app. So how the Wiser works is you read, you can also have questions, they give you questions, you attempt those questions, and then you also earn SAT. So SAT is a very, very SAT is the lowest unit of Bitcoin. You can earn SAT while you are reading the book and while you are passing in the information. So let's start from Wiser. I will be asking questions based on that. YZER. Then next up, another thing I want you guys to be reading is this website. So you can just head over to this website. Let me send it in the chat. This particular Ethereum website. I've sent this. Then the app I want you to download on your mobile phone is Wiser. And then you can start checking out these two. So you can just read what Ethereum is, understand a view concept of it before we introduce this properly in the next class. So in the next class, what we are going to be talking about is more components of the blockchain, understanding some blockchains like Bitcoin, understanding firm like Ethereum and the rest of them. So that's what we are going to be doing. So I expect you guys to be doing a lot of reading. Now, don't just read for reading's sake. Like I said, read for the fact that you want to understand the concept. You want to understand the technology. So don't be in a haste and rush and say, I want to read 100 pages or 30 pages today. No. If it's only one page you can be able to understand, trust me, I'm fine by it. Read only that one page and come to the class with it. Ask me your question based on what you understand there and what you don't understand from that one page. I will be able to answer you, and then you go back and continue your study again. But for now, just know that it should be a lot of reading, a lot of watching of videos also. So you can also head over to YouTube. YouTube will explain concept for you about the blockchain introduction. Just ask YouTube. And then popularly, you can check a famous course by Patrick Collins. So let me send it for you also. So on YouTube, I can check out Patrick Collins. Yup. It's a 31-hour long course. I only expect you to watch 1 hour of this video. It's a 32-hour course. I only want you to watch 1 hour of this video. I have told you 1 hour only. Then start reading the Ethereum. Start reading about Ethereum and download the Wiser app and then read it. Then go and learn about the history of Bitcoin. Just understand how Bitcoin started and the rest of them. I will be coming with questions for you guys. And trust me, the Web3 bootcamp will not be like the Web2. These ones, I will be bombarding questions because I want to be sure that everybody is learning here. So with that, if there's no any more questions, I'll be stopping here and we should call it a day. So I can proceed, right? All right, guys. Thank you for your time. Thank you, everyone. Tech community, you can take over if there's anything. And also the sub-mentors, if you have anything, I think the floor is yours now. I think this is the best time to do the sub-mentor now. I don't even know who the sub-mentor for this class is.
Okay, all right. We have Richard on the call and Ebube. So probably Richard, you could unmute and speak first. Then Ebube could go next.
Hi, Ebube, my guy. Ebube is always my sub-mentor. Are you sure he's not my Ebube, what's up now? It's been a while.
I'm fine. Good morning, GM. Mano.dev. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I didn't even see you on the call, sir.
I've been in the call starting of the class.
Oh, interesting. I just noticed now. So if there will be
Nice
anything, so we let
teaching.
them know, because
Okay,
I'm
no
sure
problem.
you have to treat Web3 like Web3, not Web2. A lot of reading should be done here, please. There's
Yeah,
no playing.
yeah, definitely. We'll look into that.
Awesome. All right, so if there's nothing, I'm out. See you guys in the next class, which is on Thursday, right? Bye, everyone. Cheers.
Okay, no, bye, man.
Bye, sir. Thank you very much.